Alrighty then, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome one and all to our first session 0 technically, of Spore Wars, our Pathfinder 2nd edition adventure featuring these wonderful and amazing Pathfinders who have come to join me across the table and play some games and have a good time. Guys, say hello to the folks at home.
Hi everyone.
Hi, good morning.
Hello. All right, now before we begin, we have a couple of things to go over. Just because this is session 0 and stuff like that, our first playthrough of Spore Wars. The first thing we're going to be talking about is the tangibility of our characters that we're playing for today. Now, of course, we do have the characters all sorted out. Everyone's got the ideas, the things that they want to be playing for today's session. However, as this is the first of a new campaign, we do follow the rules of 3. DAG has 3 sessions in which any of my players may change any aspect of their character, from their builds to their names to their personalities to their voices, whatever they would like. They have 3 sessions before things get locked in. So if you see something from today that changes to next week, maybe Niccolo all of a sudden decides to become a Tanuki, or Vardel, instead of coming from the lands of Druma, all of a sudden is now an Slavic noble. Whatever the case is, any of these changes are going to be just retcon changes for 3 sessions, after which they're locked in and they're who we are going to be playing with. Session 0 for me is always 2 parts. The first part is obviously making characters and creating them physically and tangibly to use for the game, and the second part is a way for us to really get to know these characters in general, basically allowing them to be played around a little bit, get to know a little bit of their history, their backstory, and ultimately bring them together for the start of the campaign. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be opening up the chat box for you guys to throw out your suggestions for stuff, because most of today will be just improvised stuff just to kind of explore. So if you have things you want to know about characters, such as, Aelith is currently in this setting. What would happen if Aelith bumped into someone they know? If you ask me questions like this, chances are I'll take that idea and run with it, because that's what we're doing today. Today is all exploring these characters and finding out a little bit about them. So there we go. Now, as always, before we begin, we have some people to thank, and that is, of course, the people that make us look as good as we do. We have Hero Forge for the wonderful art you can see on screen here. All of our character tokens are made using Hero Forge, so go check that out. Sirenscape for the beautiful sound effects that immerse my players into the adventure. And Fantasy Grounds for our VTT of choice that connects my players from all around the world. Now, today, we're not going to be introducing our characters just yet, because we're going to be obviously doing that for the game. But let's now introduce our players. We have, taking the role of Aelith, we have Jen. Welcome in, Jen.
Hello, thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Now, Jen, I have an on-the-spot question for you, because, of course, you know, that's why I've put you in the number 1 position, because you're going to start off every single session. You're going to be the first person to speak every week. You excited about that?
Oh, the joys.
Yeah, I know, right? It's great. The coveted first-person position. Well, this is why I'm going to be putting you on the spot, because the first thing I would like to ask you, which I ask of every one of my tables, is what is it that you're most looking forward to about playing the character of Aelith in the Spore War adventure?
I want to see a continuation of her journey, especially with the ending of Gatewalkers and getting memories back, and then basically going home and seeing how she is able to integrate back in, and how she overcomes the grief, having lost all of those memories and getting things back. But then continuing on, seeing where her story leads her, with, you know, character-wise, not knowing about what's going to happen with Spore War, how well she can integrate back into society.
Okay. That's a cool angle to look at. All right, next up we have, playing the role of Vardel, is our dear friend Schoolie. Schoolie, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
It's good. Same question for yourself. What is it you're most looking forward to when it comes to playing Varadel in Spore War?
But unlike Bill, who was very let everyone else do the thinking, and he basically was the muscle to help protect them, this time I'm trying to be more the information gatherer. Although whether he shares it will be another matter. But, very much more information gathering.
Well, that's who he is. What is it you're excited to explore with him?
Being able to actually take on that information role more than, the actual seeking of the information rather than just protectors of those who are.
So more you want to be someone who does that whole gathering process, and the gathering mechanic is something that you're interested in exploring. Okay, cool. I'll remember that. I'll remember that for sure. Okay. Cool. All right. Next up, we have Dom, played by our dear friend Kyle from All Things Fantasy. Hi, Kyle. Not All Things Fantasy. What am I saying? Kyle from frickin' Nomad. Yeah, sorry. I didn't even know. Yeah, you're taking over Matt's channel apparently. Kyle from Nomad Actual. So yes, hi, Kyle.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
What's up with you? Sorry, I just had a slight identity.
I'm good. No, it's fine. No, that was on me. I was the one who did that to you, so that's fine. No, I'm doing great. Tell us what you're most excited to explore with your character, Dom.
Playing a campaign from start, honestly, because last one in Gatewalkers, as you know, I joined in kind of halfway through, and there was a spot that opened up, but I wanted to, I'm excited to kind of start from scratch and see the evolution of a game, the evolution of a campaign, and have a character that has that time to kind of evolve, as opposed to my last character, Carl, who just kind of started off, leveled up, and in the shit, kind of,
Yeah, kind of in the midst of the game as opposed to at the start, whereas now you can kind of go from the ground and move your way up. I mean, it's still quite a high-level game. Obviously, we're starting this adventure at level 11, but yeah, you'll get to see the whole story from start to its inevitable gory conclusion. So yeah, keen on that. All right, next up we have playing the role of all right, hold on. I need to actually expand this. Let's see. There we go. Phil say tham avam raldun nalo graldalamel.
That's Phil. That was real bad. I appreciate the attempt.
Yeah, I know, but you still named him that, so that's what it is.
I did. He goes by Phil for short. For the sake of brevity.
What is the full name? Go on.
It is Philsaethum Avramraldun Nilo Graldlamel.
There you go. All right. And what is it that you look forward to? Oh, by the way, this is Lucas, a.k.a. Mr. Game and Heart. And what is it you most look forward to when playing Phil for this adventure?
I'm actually really excited to try a different type of character. Because if you look at pretty much all of the characters I played on your tables, they're the stoic adventurer. And Phil here is anything but. He is a very outgoing, flamboyant, flashy type of individual. Very confident in himself. So I am looking forward to trying that out for a change.
Okay, sick. I love that. And last but certainly not least, you know him, you love him. We have Neil from Immersion Diversion playing Niccolo.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Tell us what you are most excited for when playing Niccolo.
So I'm actually most excited for getting to know the other people's characters as their characters.
That is a very admirable thing, but not the thing you're most excited about when coming to play with your character.
No, I know. But I figured, it's,
You figured you'd not answer my question
fine.
And fucking detach
Well,
again because you can't follow simple instructions, Neil.
I'm sorry.
What are you looking forward to most when playing your character, Neil? This should not be this hard.
I guess rather than being a diplomat, I get to be like a tactician. I mean, I know they're kind of one and the same, but in this sense, like, I get to plan for fights instead of planned for talking and stuff. So it'll be kind of interesting on my end. And that's why I say like getting to know my team, kind of thing, because I'm helping them out more than helping myself, even though I can still do stuff on my own. So.
Cool. All right. Very, very cool. All right. Well, this is, of course, our group of characters, which we are going to take some time to get to know and see how they play together. But, of course, before we do that, we have some people to thank as well, and that is our audience members. Guys, thank you for being here and joining us for the show, whether it's your first time, whether it's your millionth time. We appreciate you being here, and we don't like you guys just sitting there and watching the shows in the background. We want you to be a part of the action as well. First of all, just by watching the show, you earn channel points that can be used in any point in time to influence the game with insight bonuses, random bosses, random monsters, divine intervention, divine healing, tons of cool stuff there. So go check those out. And subscribers, you earn channel points twice as quick. So consider subscribing if you haven't already. If not, hey, just enjoy the show. You'll earn channel points anyway. We then have a number of monetary donations that go towards the channel's maintenance, basically things like buying books, buying subscriptions, all the stuff that makes us look as good as we do, plus my mortgage and solid food. All very important things. These rewards here all go towards the DAG survival check for the month, which we are at a whopping 72%, which is absolutely incredible. Once we hit the 100% mark, then we are going to be doing a poll in the Discord for a DAG reward stream. Now, this reward stream could be an advice video. It could be a fitness stream. It might be a one-shot. It might be DAG plays something. Whatever it is, we're basically going to be discussing it in chat, and then we'll figure it out. And then, yeah, that's what we'll do. Then, of course, we have the donations here, which are a little bit more tangible than the donations we do with the channel points. For $5, you can award hero points or jinx points. Hero points are for my players. Jinx points are for me. Hero points can be used to stave off death, petition the DM for stuff that isn't in the rules, and roll with advantage. Jinx points can be used to counter hero points, make bad guys roll with advantage, or complicate things ever so slightly. $10, I will draw from one of two decks, either the deck of plot twists, where I will draw a random story-based prompt, where I will improv that into the course of the game while we play. The second, my players will draw a random card from the deck of Harrows, which is a fortune-telling deck that gives them GM powers to bring those fortune-telling cards to life, allowing them to basically just change the narrative themselves. For $20, you can give someone the coveted golden natural 20, because sometimes shit just needs to work, and that's how we get it to work. So yeah, we have $50, which is a boss buff, where we increase the difficulty of a challenge the group is facing, making it tougher, faster, stronger, changing the parameters of victory, changing the circumstances that surround them, adding some dying orphan nuns, I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. But if our heroes manage to overcome a boss buffed encounter, they will also receive a special unique magic item for their troubles. And lastly, we have our $100 secret menu item, which for Spore Wars is going to be the following. This is going to be a one and only time secret menu item for this entire campaign. This will be our heroes receiving a small, albeit very tiny, boost to their resistance to poisons and diseases. Whether it's through the consumption of rather toxic materials, whether it's an exposure to a rather negative environment, our heroes will receive a permanent +2 bonus to all diseases and poisons for the duration of this campaign. So that is the bonus here. Now, obviously, it doesn't seem like that much of a secret menu item compared to what we normally do with like a whole bunch of things. But trust me when I say that the value for money on this one will go a long way, and it's also to encourage me to never, ever, 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 ever again provide said bonus to our heroes as a group passive buff. Won't happen again. So that's it. This is our Session 0 special buff that our heroes will potentially receive. So there you go. All right. Cool. I feel like that's it. All right. If we are done, then without any further ado, let us dive into our Session 0, the prologue to Spore War. Now, before we begin, our story actually will start a few years back. Surrounding the area known as Lake Carthen, several kingdoms lie in what is now known as the Eye of Dread. You see, many centuries ago, the world was gripped in a war of terror. An evil lich by the name of Tar-Baphon, the Whispering Tyrant, sought to rule all of Galarian. His wrath endless, his forces of the dead never tiring, ceaselessly hungry. And he fought wars against gods and man alike. It was the god Aradin, the god of humanity, who sadly is now perished, who managed to seal the Whispering Tyrant in his own throne at a place known as Gallowspire in the lands of Ustalav to the north of Lake Encathan. And here he stayed dormant for many years. That was until he managed to wield the powers of the seals that had trapped him, creating a devastating weapon which he unleashed upon Lastwall, home of the Paladin Knights who stood vigil to keep him and his undead hordes at bay. He wiped out in a single evening the entire nation itself, leaving death, ruin, and destruction everywhere. In a land now simply called the Gravelands. This terrifying revelation sent shockwaves throughout the entire world. Those who resided around Lake Encathan rallied their forces and steeled themselves in the coming days for the return of Tar-Baphon, which sure enough he did, and seized control of the Isle of Terra, a small island in the center of the lake, who spent many years protecting his great and vast wealth. And from here, he has begun his campaign once more. The undead marching in the mists, the freshly killed knights of Lastwall now rising as servitors to march on Galarian. This terrifying event has caused all of these nations to start considering what they need to do in the event of another great war, especially since the god of war himself, Gorum, has also recently perished. Without a god of war to guide them, all hope seems lost. Or at least it would be, were there not a flicker of hope that burned brightly in the heart of several heroes throughout the Encathan region. And we are going to start by meeting some of these heroes. The first, we meet aboard a large vessel, traveling through the River Kingdoms on a small barge. We see a hooded elven woman brandishing a bow, still wearing certain attire that wraps themselves in rather cold weather gear. Aelith, would you describe your character, please, and what you would be doing aboard this raft as you are sailing south towards Kionin?
Aelith is an elven ranger, just coming from a very big battle to prevent the Black Frost whale from being set free. She has mismatched arms. She is cursed. Very bad things will happen if she were to ever perish. So this is one thing she's been thinking about, how she is able to pass this on to somebody else so that she herself won't just cause a destruction. She having her memories back. Her first her main thoughts also are getting home. She's been away from home for so long, not remembering things. All the memories flooding back. She is both excited to go home as well as dealing with grief all over again, especially after having to kill one of her childhood friends. She is thinking about what she's going to tell her friend's parents and what she saw. She's just looking forward to getting back home and not having to deal with any of the stresses of saving the world, saving the area.
Sure. As you try to unwind, the stresses not shaking easily from your very tired and weary bones, especially not with the corrupted arm attached to you. Eventually, you hear a call as a bell rings out from the raft. Arriving now in 7 arches. Ding, 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 ding. All who goes ashore. Arriving now at 7 arches. This is, of course, your stop, Aleph. As you arrive, it seems so many years since you were last here. The town was never really your home, at least not in particular. But 7 Arches was named after the 7 arched Aedaras that resided in the middle of town. The barge that lets you off arrives nearby as you take a moment to go and look at these arches. It feels almost surreal and kind of silly how fake these Aedara happen to be now that you have spent so much time so close to the real ones. You know the runes are absolute gibberish, and that the stone itself is not nearly as old and as worn as the originals. You could see that there are still people here who go to get their portraits done adjacent to these large statues, not realizing the terrors and power that dwell within the real ones. Grabbing your bag, you begin to make your way out of town towards the forests. Meanwhile, Varadel. In the lands of Druma, a rather hot and very, very strongly mercantile land, you find yourself in a busy bazaar. There are people shouting and yelling and crying out for the best deals all around them as you are making your way through the town to make it towards your benefactor, a man by the name of Anton Shazlow. My friend, do not run past. Come, we have the greatest and finest of deals. Spiced wines, silks that are so soft they could lull a dragon to sleep. Come, we have everything. Another person shouting out, perhaps you would like flowers for your lady friends, yes? Handsome man like you needs to impress the ladies. We have a very special deal on all of the best horticulture this side of the lake. Yes. You can also see there's a few children who are offering tiny handmade trinkets from like just scrap and junk that has been gathered from the various, just the outlyings of the desert and stuff like that. There we go. Freaking trolls in my chat. I swear to God, you motherfuckers. Anyway, sorry. All right. So, What are you guys doing?
I've got no idea at this point.
Make your choice. You do. You freaking menaces you. Otherwise, I'm gonna put a boss buff in both your games. Might do that anyway. But anyway. Okay.
Dak,
Yes.
I just noticed that Aelith's name isn't spelled correctly.
Well, I can correct that in a moment. Yes. Bear with me.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right. Spell it for me.
Aelyth.
Like that.
Without the E at the last E.
Yeah, no second E.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
Oh,
All right. Secret menu item. Fantastic. All right. Very well. The secret menu item has been claimed. Everyone can, in their notes, just write down a short little story as to how your characters, in your variety of different ways, may have developed a resistance to poison and diseases. So I'm just going to write this down. All buff, poison, and disease +2. Very freaking cool. All right, there we go. We'll automate that later, but thank you so much, of course, to Adam and Cookie for that most generous donation to our campaign. Trust me when I say it will go so very far in this campaign. All right, Vardell.
Yep. Well, going through the various stalls, probably goes to the ones that don't are sort of in the middle grounds, not the completely empty ones, but also not the ones that are too bustling. Ones that have got a few people around looking over the various cloths and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Just as it goes. Looking at the various prices, and it's more curious to know how the others are bartering, whether they think the prices are good or not before we move on.
So, in Druma, generally speaking, you will not be able, as part of the bartering system, ascertain what everyone thinks is a fair deal. That's kind of always going to be very speculative in Druma. If you ask for something specific, I'll give you a price, and then you can weigh it up as to how much you value it as it's worth. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a much easier way than mixed pricing, because the bartering system. So actually, Schoolie, let me ask you this as a player: do you know how to haggle? Do you know how to barter? Do you have that skill as a person?
No.
Okay, I'll teach you about haggling. Okay, and this actually goes to everyone in chat. This is actually a very real method in which one haggles. To begin with, I will take on the role of the merchant. You will take on the role of the consumer. If you go to a place where haggling and bartering is very commonplace, such as, say, India, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, stuff like that, this is how you would go. I have an apple. My apple I bought for 10 cents. Okay? Now, you don't know this, I know this, because I have a friend who runs an orchard. He gave me this apple for 10 cents. So, you are a foreigner. You come from a long-distant place, and most apples in foreign countries, they'll cost like, let's say $1.50 for an apple. Okay? So I'll look at you and I'll say, hey, look, apples don't grow in the desert, all right? $5 for an apple. Now, the reason this is an outrageous inflation is this is what they call the tourist price. They'll always set something obnoxiously high, right? $5 for this apple. Now, the first step is to always reject it and then offer something insultingly low. The reason you go insultingly low is they will mark it up, but you need to then undermine what they're offering. So, for example, if I said $5 for this apple, Schoolie, what would you say?
Looking at it, probably surely $1 at most.
Well, you'd want to explain that. You want to basically say, why is my apple worth $1 to you? This is a $5 apple. So what's your reason? And you can make shit up, anything you want.
So, given how many got here, can't be that rare to find nearby.
It's true. I've got a big cart full of apples. Can't be that rare. $1. $1? I can't feed my family on $1. I'm already doing you a great deal by offering you $5. Look, because you and we're friends, okay? Maybe you want to buy more stuff here. I'll do it better for you. I'll do it for $3.50, okay? $3.50 for this bright and shiny apple, okay? You won't get a better price anywhere in the bazaar. This is the best price you're gonna get. So, at this point in time, your next step is to basically say, no, that's too expensive, and then to try and walk away.
Yeah.
Right? Now, this is an important step, because if you don't walk away, they're not offering you anything to go back, which means you're always on the down play and they'll always meet you in the middle, which means you're going to end up paying somewhere like $4. So you need to walk away here and not make an offer. Okay? So at this point, what does Vardell do?
Probably sneers and says, "Huh, there are plenty more fruit merchants. I'm sure more of them are more reasonable than you are." And walks. Just turns and walks.
Okay. As you go to walk away, he turns around. Wait, my friend. Listen. There are other merchants, but they do not have the understanding and the respect that I have. All right, I'll give you this apple for $2. $2, and I'll give you this shiny apple. Last offer, final offer. I can't go any lower. Now, at this point, now is when you pull back a little bit more. Try a little lower.
So effectively stopping at the door if we're inside type thing. It says, 150. Split the difference.
He says, okay, 150, it's a deal, right? He'll take that deal. Now, it seems as though you've haggled him down from $5, but really he's actually made a massive profit on what he's done. You have ultimately paid a reasonable price for an apple from a Western society. However, if you were a local, you could say, no, don't bullshit me, man, 20 cents. Right? And if he goes 20 cents, he's like, fuck you, 20 cents, like, I'll give it to you for $3. You're like, no, 25 cents. And you could be really stern about it if you are that certain with your price. If he knows that you're kind of like a local and you've pushed the actual price, he'll then say, oh, okay, sure, 50 cents and you can have the apple. You know what I mean? And he'll give you the regular price. So this is how we haggle. Now, if you want to haggle with me in-game, we'll do that, and we'll add that into like some of the mechanics and stuff. But before we did, I wanted to teach you the method in which that'll go down, right? Because otherwise I'm just going to swindle you out a ton of money. So that's something you're very proficient with. Fun fact for the folks at home, the prophecies of Callistrae are actually the prophecies that govern Druma, including money. Money makes the world go round, and wealth and profits and stuff like that. So in this particular case, as Vardell is haggling and stuff like that, he's sort of given the apple for well, let's say it's 1 silver and 2 copper pieces by the end of the haggling session, which is a little expensive, but he's made a friend here. Eventually you see your friend Anton, who says, Vardell, you never stop working, do you, my friend?
Of course not.
We
always need.
Go on.
Always need to learn new things when we arrive in a place.
Ah, yes, of course. This very, very large, dark-skinned individual, just adorned with jewels and very, very expensive robes, turns and he says, well, listen, speaking of going to new places, I have a mission for you, a task of such. There's a meeting that's going to be happening in the lands of Kionen. I think perhaps the elves may be willing to cut in some trade deals. They've asked us to send a representative of our house to go and discuss matters, and we wish to obviously see these matters are profitable. I've already sent my beloved cousin to go and look into this and represent and speak on behalf of the house, but while, of course, she is doing so, I need eyes and ears to listen to what is going on. behind closed doors is always such a suggestion when it comes to business. We both know knowledge is power.
You want her to have a leg up while we're there?
Now you understand. I can't let my cousin get all the profits from this deal.
And also not make a fool of the family.
Of course not. I knew you would understand. And I hope you do not mind me utilizing and leveraging some of your affinities for the Kionin people.
Of course not. After all, what benefits here benefits all of us, right?
Of course. Shared profit is the best kind of profit, my friend. Good, good. I will make travel arrangements very soon. He grabs you by the shirt and sort of kisses you on both cheeks, a sign of respect. Though this man who is speaking to Shazlo, he is one of the most profitable merchants in Druma. Like, he's not like the biggest or anything like that, but he has a lot of push and a lot of sway. So yeah. All right, very cool. Next up, let's go to the bottom here. I want to go here to Nicolo.
Mm.
All right. Nicolo. You are in rather a beautiful surrounding. The palaces of the Malthun royalty and nobility are no stranger to you as you walk the marble hallways. Royal guards seem to line each and every one of the corridors here, all of which seem to be looking and observing the comings and goings of those who make their way in. You are dressed in your formal regalia as your father has asked you to come and speak with him. Could you describe yourself and what's across your mind as you are making your way in?
Well, Nicolo, as you can see, finely dressed, a leather, kind of almost like a leather lapel jacket, dressed in red, wears a pair of glasses, and, he also, has kind of almost like thick military boots. And what he's thinking about as he's walking down the hallways is usually when his father asks for him while he's working, it's usually about some kind of mission that he would send me on. So I'm wondering what he's gonna have me do this time.
All right. Eventually, you come to what looks to be a small garden, wherein which your father is playing a game of chess with the young prince. The guards immediately stop you and prevent you from approaching. This is very normal, as the prince is currently in the middle of his lessons.
I will patiently wait.
And that, dear boy, is the Rook's Gambit. Do you understand? Yes, of course, Mr. Reskett. So if I move my bishop here, then my horse here, I then can't move my rook without jeopardizing the interior of the castle. Yes. Now you're understanding it. Good lad. All right, well, take the lessons to heart. Remember them? And I want to see you implement them next week when we meet up again. Yes, sir. Thank you. As the boy stands up, your father sort of stands as well and bows. The little boy is then escorted by the royal guard away.
If he passes by, I will then also bow to the prince.
The prince smiles at you. He stops for a moment and looks you up and down and says to his guards, "That man, he kind of looks like Mr. Reskett, doesn't he?" They don't say anything. They just kind of walk him into the castle. Your father sits down again by the table with a cup of tea. Niccolo,
I'll approach. Oh yeah,
come, sit.
of course, Father, and I will sit across from him.
He pours out a cup of tea and passes it over to you. And he says, "Son, how are your studies going?"
They're going great. Haven't missed a class.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect
Good.
scores across the board.
Excellent. This is wondrous news. Have you spoken to your grandfather of late?
He's usually quite busy. Usually I only talk to him when he asks for me, but I should probably go see him a little bit more. When
He hands
off.
you a parchment. It is signed by the seal of your grandfather. It has been opened already, and it's addressed to your father. This is something he's obviously received and opened, and he's handing it to you to read.
Is it okay if I read this?
I would not hand it to you if it wasn't.
My fault, of course. And I will open it.
As you read it, it says this. Son, I wish to speak to you of that no-account, incompetent, and utterly disappointing child of yours, Niccolo. The great and powerful Iomade saw fit for me to birth 4 glorious children, and among them 16 beautiful and stalwart warriors as grandchildren. And then there's Niccolo. Niccolo, despite his age, has not seen a moment of real combat. He claims his studies keep him busy. Can you believe this? A world in which study is done behind desk and book instead of on the battlefield between blood and glory. I know that you and your beloved wife coddle that child too much and keep him in his ivory cage. Well, no more. You can tell him that should he wish to inherit any family resemblance of our glorious name of Resket, or even, be entitled to any of the family holdings, then he must deploy within the new moon. Failure to do so, I would expect him or your entire family to leave the Resket estate by my arrival. I am not certain of when that will be, perhaps a few weeks, perhaps a month, but I look forward to hearing about my idiot grandson's deployment upon my return, and his furthering of the glory of our most honored name. Sincerely, General Walder Resket. Your dad sips his tea while you're reading.
When I finish, I roll up the parchment and I just say, pleasant as always. And I just set it on the table and go drink some of my tea before it gets too cold.
Well, there you have it. I'm sure you understand that while your mother was very against the idea, I am not willing to make that kind of sacrifice to dishonor my father and to, of course, put my wife and your brother and sister at risk of repercussions from the patriarch of our family. Thus, Niccolo, you'll be required to assign to any kind of campaign.
Of course. I will.
Well, good. I'm glad to see that you're amenable to this. I already have a few options here for you, but my suggestion is for this one. As I'm sure you're aware, Lake Carthen has become quite tumultuous in some time, and many of the merchants who are traveling via the ocean routes are trying to avoid the various plague barges that besiege the waters.
Yeah, I will. If you think I can handle something like this, then I will.
Oh, I
take
do
it.
not know if you can handle it or not.
Oh,
You are... You are not the strongest or the fastest or in some ways even the brightest of my children. The idea behind this is that at least if you're on the water, then your fate comes into the hands of reliable captains, of which I know a few who I will assign you to. Your job is to survive.
Right.
Do you understand?
I understand, sir.
Listen. We come from a long line of great soldiers, those who have laid their lives down in the service to our country and to greater causes. You are not. You are not. But do not take it to heart. It was my fault for marrying your gentle mother. It was bound to happen that someone who did not have the stomach for warfare would be born to our lineage. I just wish as though our grandfather could see you for who you are, and not just continually shape you into the warrior you clearly are not. But don't worry, I will never hold that kind of expectation over your head. Just go and enjoy the seaside, enjoy the weather, and come back to us once your grandfather has calmed down a little bit.
Okay, I understand.
That's a good boy. He doesn't even look at you in the eyes as he pats you on the shoulder and says, "Enjoy your tea, son." He leaves the letter with you as he goes and returns inside. You're very accustomed to this. Your father is a good man. He is a warrior, first and foremost. He won his first campaign when he was 14 years old. A story that he rarely ever lets you forget. Your brothers and sister, decorated naval marines, and your grandfather, of course, the general's name speaks for itself, one of the very influential people among the Malthun military forces. But in many ways, Niccolo, your father sees through you. He doesn't really see your progress or what it is you do. He knows that you enjoy your studies and that you enjoy books and things, but that has never been his strength. It's never been his point where he could understand you. Your mother, however, does. As the news falls upon you, what do you feel? What do you think? What would you like to do?
Niccolo just kind of sits there looking at the chessboard on the table across from him.
You realize that that one of the strategies that the child has used is one that your father taught you a long time ago.
I'll take one of the chess pieces and move it into checkmate.
The checkmate's already there.
Oh, I figured it wasn't finished, but maybe it did, and then yeah, I guess they would have finished their game. Okay, and then I just say, or he thinks to himself, looks like I'll have to prove them wrong. And then he goes to sip the tea, and he's like, this tea's always been pretty bitter, and he puts it back on the table, unable to finish it.
All right. Very well. As you leave, we then change scenes once more. This time to a rather hustling and bustling land. Now, remind me, Phil, where are you from?
Yes. So Phil is originally from this area, Kionin. Originally. Yeah.
Very well. And where are you presently? The River Kingdoms, I imagine, on a book tour or something?
Yeah, something like that, probably. He does travel quite a bit around the area, so.
All right. Very well. All right. Let me just get here. right. In the lands of the River Kingdom, ironically not too far from Seven Arches, Phil, you are on a street-bound mountebank stage with a big caravan that is now posterizing your face and your visage, your new book called The Great Brain Ouch. A psychic wave washed across the entire world in a fleeting moment, giving everyone horrible nightmares. And you had written a story about the moment in which you, by transporting yourself into the realm of dreams, were able to defeat a great and powerful evil, one that had hidden long ago beneath the very ice at the crown of the world, and managed to emerge victorious. The Great Brain Ouch ended with your final decisive blow against the creature, and you're here to promote your book among the populace who is gathered as you can see two very, very small gnomes who have been paid minimum wage are playing instruments and banging on tambourines to attract a crowd. Describe yourself, and the scene is yours.
Yeah, so Phil is a rather attractive, tall elven man. He is always well dressed to the nines. You know, he's got his top hat. Everything is as it should be. Everything in its place. And he is absolutely working the crowd from the stage. You know, he will lean down and shake hands and kiss babies and all that good stuff. Whatever he needs to do to work the crowd. And he is eating it up. He loves the attention, and he is happy to see the people as they start to amass around the stage. The more people, the happier he is, the bigger the smile, the better the show.
The elation that comes, especially from the children, lifts you up as you begin to regale your... well, tell people why they should buy your book.
Well, let me tell you, this is a story for the ages. A story you and your children and your children's children and generations to come will never forget. You've never heard a story quite like this. I have written the true account of my most harrowing journey and my biggest accomplishment. And for just the small fee that it takes to buy my book, you too can experience this adventure for yourself and for years to come.
All right, people start to murmur. Make a diplomacy check. First roll of the campaign.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. All right, here we go.
Pressure's on.
Let's see.
No hero points, no jinx points.
Oh,
Natural one!
That sets the tone.
I
Yep.
can only get better.
Wrong start.
Fucking brilliant. Okay. Immediately, several
fair, he's more of a
adventurers who
defensive
seem to
guy,
be in the
not a
crowd turn towards you. That's a load of horse shit. The big ouch happened like, what, a couple weeks ago? How could you have been there and publishing your book at the same time?
Dear friend, it's called multitasking. I am quite skilled at it. You should try it sometime.
Multitasking. The only thing you're multitasking as is managing to write this drivel and spoon-feeding us all of this bullshit at the same time. You see that some of his, like, little adventuring crew sort of like, yeah, you know, they're kind of muttering.
Well, when do you think would be the right time to write a book about the greatest adventure known to mankind? Would it be weeks after it happened, or would it be fresh, when it's fresh in your mind? I wrote as we adventured.
They say real adventurers, they don't write their own adventure. They're too busy living it. It's why we have bards and pathfinders. Yeah. I mean, you don't hear stories of Glorian the Glad writing his own tales? No. The crowd is, with that natural one, unfortunately, very quickly turning on you. The bards are kind of like the bards that you've hired are like, we're not here as security, man. We can't deal with a riot. Fucking do something.
Yes, bards. they are useful in many ways. Unfortunately, this particular adventure proved too difficult for them, and I had to leave them behind, which left me to write my own story.
You see, okay, let's make another diplomacy check. This would be really funny if you rolled 3 ones in a row, because I will just have you lynched and die. A new character straight away.
The mob gets him.
The mob gets
That's
you.
a little better. Not great, but it's a little better.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is still a crit fumble, though. So yeah, the crowd basically turns on you from the moment you say that you left your bards behind. They're like, you left bards behind? And you just carried on your adventure and then just took their jobs? Someone call the Pathfinders! Get the Union out here! And you see that people start yelling and arguing, a few people start booing, and then one of the adventurers turns around and says, if you're really all that, then you should be able to go on a real adventure!
Of course I can go on a real adventure. I adventure all the time.
Oh yeah? Prove it! He says. He throws a rock onto the stage. Not at you, just onto the stage. And wrapped around the rock is a announcement. It is a call for aid. Kionin is calling for aid for any able-bodied heroes and adventurers to come and help repel the plague barges of the undead. There is a reasonable reward. Plus there is free board and accommodation for any who sign up to join the United Militia against Tar-Baphon's forces.
He will take a moment to read it and nod, and not one to let the visage slip when he's in public. He will simply smile. It's more of a smirk, really, at the crowd. Simple enough. I will, of course, go on this adventure. I will return victorious, and then you all will be required to buy a copy of my latest book.
You hear the adventurers kind of don't really say much, but the crowd immediately loves this idea. Yeah, you show him, Phil! Yeah, woo! Yeah, that'll show you guys! Phil's not a liar! Woo! Yeah! And there's a huge roar. The bards sort of look and say, we still need to get paid before you go. But you know what? Yeah, we're with you, man. Like, yeah, we hope you can do the thing.
Indeed. Well, excellent. Then it's settled. I will go on this adventure, return victorious. You all can throw me a parade and a party, and then I will distribute the books as you purchase them.
All right. They are not going to buy your book until after you come back from your adventure.
Yes. That's the deal.
But you do make a couple of arrangements to basically keep your book here on end supply at the various bookstores, and the guild basically ensures that the deal is struck. So if you do manage to go and return successfully, then you will also be, they'll basically be obliged by the guild to buy copies of your book.
All right, sounds good. I would say with everything set, he will pay his bards and be on his way.
All right. Now, the ship leaving towards Kionin will leave in the morning. Are you actually going to go? Like, lots of death. Many people die.
His current plan is to go into the area where, where this expedition is supposed to depart from, but he doesn't currently have any intention of actually going. He's going to be there and then sort of pretend that he goes and then come back.
That's what I figured. Cool. So, as you go to as you wake up in the morning, you head over to the meeting area where the expedition is supposed to leave. Sure enough, you can see where people are getting on. They're getting their names checked in and signed off. You walk up to the guy and, tell him your name so that you're on the list and stuff. And then as you do so, you very surreptitiously try to sneak away. Make a stealth check.
Already? Hopefully this is better than my last roll.
Well, it is, technically. But you do manage to steal away yourself into a small barrel. It's an empty barrel, and you place yourself in there and wait until the sound of the ship leaving happens. However, Your mistake becomes very real when you hear the heavy thud of several hammers on the top. Boom, 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 as you are sealed in the barrel. You are then loaded onto a ship, bound for, well, I guess we'll find out in a little bit. All right. Next up, we changed location. This time in the lands of Nermanthas, a forested area that lies to the south of the Gravelands. A small temple to Iomade being erected amongst a small wayward community of wood carvers and hunters. On an altar, a prayer is being granted by what appears to be one of the knights, a priest, battered, injured, and covered with burn marks. One moment. All right. O great and powerful Iomade, to whom's grace we owe all of our strength and courage. The days remain dark. They remain filled with dangers that lurk everywhere, and your faithful have found themselves dwindling against the forces of evil and darkness. We seek your guidance, and we seek your hope here in these trying times. We are not sure yet if a worthy knight can rise up in order to fulfill the duties that need to be, but each and every one of us shall continue endlessly to serve in your honor. Help us now and grant us the power we need. The loss we have suffered is great, but today we hope to gain something back. With that, he puts down what looks to be a horn on the table in front of him. He begins to chant a spell. As the magic of the holy energy begins to flow outwards, it begins to gather. Magic starts to rise. The horn begins to shudder and glow in a brilliant blue light. Suddenly, particles begin to appear in the light, taking form and shape. A large and heavy-set individual, tall enough that their legs hang over the altar itself. Fur begins to bloom from around their neck, their arms, and their legs. Monstrous hands grip tightly to the stone altar, and with a breath that seems to have been caught in the grave, they inhale as the light dissipates and reveals... Dom, could you describe your character, please, as you awaken on an altar?
Yeah, so Dom is a massive minotaur, but not so much a brute, more as like a seasoned veteran. Like, you look at him and you don't think that he's... You can tell he's been through some shit. You can see the battle scars, you know, over his whole body, the worn horns. Really just a scary dude. You looking at him, you just think it's somebody that you don't really want to mess with, because you can tell that he's been through some shit, but not so much a scared, more so not. But looking at him, you wouldn't think he's a brute that's just going to mess you up just for the sake of it. You can tell that he's well trained. He's a veteran. He's been through some battles. He's battle worn. Is a good way to describe it.
All right. The last thing you remember is a flash of light and searing heat that burned your fur off your body. You tried to protect yourself, raising your hands, your shields, anything you had in hand, but it was all vaporized in an instant. That glowing light came from the north and crept over the mountain like a devastating wave of anguish that collided with you, and the next thing you know, you've awakened here in the forest on a stone slab.
How many people does he see around him?
Probably about 12 people. One of them appears to, like I say, be kind of like in a knight's regalia. They're holding a book to Iomade, and they're the ones casting the spell, holding the symbol of Iomade in your direction.
Are they familiar to Dom at all?
No, none of them are.
Well, first thing he would probably ask is, who are all of you? Where am I?
Be calm, brother. You are with friends. You are in the lands of Nementhas. Nementhas is a long way away from where you were, like 6-7 days south of where you were.
Last thing I remember was fighting in what used to be Last Wall. How did we get here?
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, brother, but Last Wall is no more. It has not been for some time. The Whispering Tyrant has escaped. This news is like, it's like hearing like all of a sudden someone found Hitler alive and well and immortal and is starting up again. Like, just randomly, this is like that's just nothing to sort of, you don't even joke about that sort of thing.
That's not possible. That can't be true. What do you mean Last Wall? You need to start making sense. He's just fumbling over his words, trying to process everything just now being here.
I imagine you're also trying to like sort of stand up and be like, whoa, hold on. I need to, you know, you can't necessarily like, you're not like laying down your sort of, some of the people reach out and try to hold you down. Not like pin you down, but like they try to stop you from freaking out. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to be comforting more than restraining. They say, no, let him go. Look, I don't know what to say. For many moons we have tried, as members of the Shining Crusade, to understand what had happened. Tar-Baphon created a weapon and opened it upon Last Wall. Everyone inside died in an instant, with no warning and no recourse.
Well, that can't be true. If everybody died, how am I here? Still not fully coming to grasps with everything and still trying to make sense of...
A scouting party. We had sent people from time to time into what remains of the Gravelands in order to find supplies, things we could use in order to fight against Tar-Baphon. We found one of your horns. We were hoping that with the right magics, a true resurrection might bring you back. We weren't sure if you were going to be friend or foe, but there were talks, rumors of a soldier, one who wielded the power of the storm, a minotaur. Would your name happen to be Dom?
Yes, it would be.
You see a few of the townsfolk sort of, like, now they fully let you go and stuff, and they're like, oh my god, this is the guy. Then, at the very least, the sacrifices that were made were for a good cause.
Now, kind of, again, standing up, less defensive, just kind of coming to terms with what this guy's saying. But what, you brought me back. What was all of this for? What are you expecting me to do here? I was a soldier, and I have fought, but why go to all this trouble for me? What are you wanting me to do?
Well, in earnest, we want you to do exactly what it is you did in life. Last wall has fallen. The Knights of Ozum, the Shining Crusade, the Crimson Reclaimers, all are painfully and woefully underpowered. While Tarbafon continues to grow in rank and number, we seek not only to bolster ourselves by finding those who may be among the fallen, but bringing you back means... He doesn't seem to want to say the words, but you know what he means. If they didn't bring you back from the dead, Tarbafon would have, and you would have been fighting on his side.
I see. And he's still just kind of trying to put everything together, but simultaneously, despite him trying to make sense of everything, his memories now all of a sudden being here, because he still has all of his old memories, it's just like a blip. All of a sudden he's so far away, everybody's saying he's been dead for however long. While trying to deal with all of that confusion and sort his memories and sort all that, he's going to be eager to get something done and want to do what he's always done. It's kind of like second nature to him. So just going to look and say, okay, where do we start? Who's in charge? Where do we go from here?
He smiles at your eagerness, and you guys begin work. Now, we're going to go into a little bit of a time skip here. About 2 weeks are going to pass. Aelith, you have made your way into the forest surrounding Seven Arches. In doing so, you returned home, found out that the unicorn you had saved is still alive and well. The gnomes who had once resided in the treehouse that isn't a treehouse anymore, and managed to move into another location. As they did, the forest has begun to heal, at least somewhat. But you've heard rumors that of course these are that things to the south are tensing up. What with the undead that are slowly starting to make their way across. You've decided to head to Kyonin in order to deal with this. Unfortunately, there is no direct path to Kyonin. Instead, there is a teleportation circle which will take you to the lands of Druma. Druma, of course, the mercantile area to the south, will then be easy for you to barter passage up towards Kyonin in a much more efficient time than you would from the river kingdoms. Traveling on the river barges just takes some time. Meanwhile, Vardell, you, from Druma as well, have also managed to barter passage. You've had enough time to obviously gather your supplies and the things that you need in order to go for this travel, including a variety of different costumes and clothes that you would use to blend in to the people of Kyonin's areas, and you find that you actually look quite fetching in some of these. But you've secured your passage through there as well. Niccolo, your father has signed you up in order to lend aid to Kyonin as well, and you have also made your way to the lands of Druma in order to catch one of the coastal barges. You and a small contingent of Malthunian soldiers are tasked with protecting the barge. They are not under your command, per se, but at the same time, you believe yourself as someone who is, more family your family is, your father is, a commander and your grandfather's a general. You're kind of like a self-imposed kind of higher rank, but you're not. So, so there's that.
And I'm sure they all know that too. So
They do, but they're kind of
just
playing
be like
along
that,
because they
and
feel
then,
like if they piss you off, they're gonna piss off your dad or your granddad and stuff, and that's a whole other thing. Dom. From the lands of Nermanthas, you have found yourself a contingent to follow, the Crimson Reclaimers, people who are trying their hardest in order to kill Tar-Baphon and take back Last Wall to strike out against the undead. You've learned about the Plague Barges, but to learn about how to fight them, you've gone to Malthun in order to learn a little bit more about naval combat, and specifically how to deal with members of the undead. It is here that you have joined up with a crew that is going to be sailing on the seas in order to try and protect trade barges from the plague barges. This is where you and Nicolo happen to meet. While you are both not necessarily serving the same group, you have the same effective function. Dom is there to observe and participate in the protection of the vessel. Nicolo's army, Nicolo's little contingent is there to fulfill it all, and you're just there to kind of like learn about it. Phil, now you ended up in a barrel. Your barrel ended up getting knocked around in a few different places. Unfortunately, with your critical fumbles on so many things, would you like to know the story of what happened to poor Phil?
I would love to.
Very well. So Phil ended up on a barge that headed to the land of Razmaran, a place that is fraught with church-based cultists who worship the living god known as Razmir. This is a place filled with swindlers and people who, as a religion and a government system, have a pyramid scheme that is all but in the benefit of members of the church. Now, for the most part, your barrel had been traded and swapped here and there and accidentally loaded onto a barge filled with corpses. When you finally managed to break yourself free, you found yourself floating adrift with nothing but a series of bodies. Corpses that were just everywhere. Hundreds and thousands of them, as they were being sailed out by Razmiran priests into the center of the lake, where, before they arrive at the Isle of Terra, they indeed meet up with a plague barge. A few words are exchanged among the grave knights that happen to pilot that ship, and you watch as the Razmiran priests begin to give corpses to the grave knights. Under the cover of darkness, you manage to find and steal away on a small ship, managing to sail a short distance away before being picked up by an Ustalavic vessel. They basically believe that you are some sort of lake fairy, and originally tried to kill you, but after you explain who you are and show them a copy of your book, they realize that you are probably a little too obnoxious to be a fairy, and instead decide to let you on your way. They say that they are heading towards Nermanthas in order to continue doing trade and stuff like that, in which you jump from ship to ship trying to get back to the River Kingdoms, and you have ended up aboard the same vessel as Nicolo and Dom, and Aelith and Vardel. You are tired. You are very weary of your incredibly long and tiring travel. You are sick of the undead. Basically, you have realized firsthand that these waters are not safe. There are undead everywhere, and there are even people who are making deals and trading with the undead. Something whether or not you wish to share with anyone is up to you, but it does seem very secretive, and it does seem like it's kind of the kind of knowledge that if people share and find out you know about it, they might try to silence you.
Yeah, he's definitely going to keep his mouth shut about that one. Mm-hmm. And he has also decided in his mind that his whole scheme of presenting himself as a hero but not actually adventuring was the right way to go, because this adventuring thing is for the birds.
That's fair. So yes, bartering passage. You are now on your way to Kionin, which of course is just neighboring the River Kingdoms. So once you get to Kionin, you should be able to end up scot-free. But before then, as I mentioned, a month has passed. A couple of weeks have passed, and our heroes now gather aboard what looks to be the Nereid's Dream, a small trade ship that is owned by the Shazlo family, that has a small contingent of Malthunian soldiers to protect it against the undead, as well as a Crimson Reclaimer who happens to be amongst their number. The crew is filled out with a wide variety of people who are, just kind of sailors and, people pulling their weight and stuff, one of which is, of course, Phil, and two of the VIP members, one of which a very renowned adventurer named Aelith, and the second a member of Shazlo's personal entourage who is being given the VIP treatment, Varadel. As each of you board, you are greeted by the captain, a halfling individual who turns to each of you at various points to greet you, introduce himself, and tell you that the journey to Kionin shall be only but 3 days away. The plan is to arrive at the town of Gringold, around the midsection of Kionin, and to skirt the coast as best they can in order to avoid the plague barges. But do not worry, for we have people that will be able to protect our cargo and our passengers should that ever arise. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And with that, unless anyone has anything they wish to throw in, we shall set sail.
Nicolo's just kind of thinking to himself because he's, while we're on the ship, he's kind of gauging everybody, kind of looking at him like, he's just kind of, and then more or less thinking about all the crew members and the interesting people he gets to meet now on this ship. And then he remembers, wait, is that a Minotaur?
You met the Minotaur back in Malthun. You've been traveling with the Minotaur for about a week and a half, maybe?
Okay, he's kind of keeping the Minotaur in the back of his mind right now. If we've already done introductions.
You've done introductions with the Minotaur, yeah, but no one else. You can go talk to the Minotaur if you want. And he knows who you are, you know who he is.
Yeah, okay, I'll go talk to Dom.
There's also 3 other Malthun soldiers.
Okay.
Their names, which I will write in my player's notes here, are Unwin, Yelvin, and Gavin. Unwin, Yelvin, and Gavin are our 3 soldiers who are traveling with you.
Soldiers. Okay. So I'll walk up to Dom and be like, hello, it's good. I mean, we've been traveling for a little bit together now.
Traditionally, one says good morning.
Okay, I was.
I know. Yeah, I'm giving you a better starting point because if you go into the auto conversation and start with hello, my name is so and so, that's incorrect. You know Dom.
Okay.
You know his name is Dom. You know what he's like. You know yada yada yada. So you'd say good morning as a. Just act like you know him.
Yeah. All right. Good morning.
Dom's just gonna look down. Good morning.
How tall is Dom actually? I'm curious.
From what I saw, it's about 7 feet. Is that the normal 6 to 7 feet? Is that accurate?
So tall wise, I'd say you're probably about 7 foot something. Okay. But like girth wise, you're probably not much bigger than, your standard human adventurer kind of thing.
Yeah, no, he's not wide, he's just tall.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, yeah, being 5'6", I would definitely be like, looking up at you, and I'm just like, good morning.
Good morning. Didn't see you down there.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to see how things are going on the ship. Been traveling for a week now or something like that. Is what it feels like. Is everything going okay? I mean, it's not every day you see a Minotaur, so. But you seem friendly enough.
So far, things have been great. The journey has taught me lots, and I've been able to learn many things that I've missed out on over the past years. Dom is also keeping to his chest that he's been reborn, so that's probably not public information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no worries. Well, if you have any questions, you can ask me or the three soldiers over there. We've got Unwin, Yelvin, and Gavin.
Thank you. I will remember that. If I have any questions, I will be sure to look for any one of the four of you.
Awesome. All right. And yes, I will then walk away.
Okay.
And Dom's just going to continue looking out and just kind of be in his own head.
What is in your own head?
So right now, Dom is still thinking about everything that over the past few weeks he's come to realize is fact. The fact that, he was killed by this unspeakable evil. He's trying to come to terms with the fact that he's back after years. Everybody he knows is gone, long gone, dead, most likely an undead version of themselves that he's going to have to kill again at some point. And he's still trying to come to terms with the fact that not only is he back and everything's that he knew is gone, but he's also trying to stop what happened to his homeland, basically stop what happened there from happening everywhere. And now he's not really seeing it as a sunset cruise. He's thinking, okay, learn everything I can to fight this unspeakable evil and learn how to prevent what happened to him, prevent it from happening to everywhere else.
Cool. All right. Why are you being difficult? It's fine. Yeah. There we go. All right. Anyone else?
Is it okay if Nicolo goes to each person?
If no one else is going to, then sure.
Okay. So the next person, Nicolo will. Oh, actually, yeah. Does anybody else want to say anything? Or?
Elith is just back. She's still decompressing from everything, so she's kind of been.
Oh no. It's been 3 weeks since then. You have to evolve. Yeah, you have to keep evolving. You can't oh man, I'm so emotionally traumatized. I guess I won't be able to role play for a few months. Ah, what a shame.
No.
Well, it's funny because Nicolo is going to be going to Aelith next.
Yeah, she's
so,
probably just sitting out, just kind of watching the water and that sort of thing right now.
Okay. Yeah, you'll hear a pair of heavy footsteps, just from the size of the boots that I'm wearing. But you hear a pair of boots clomping behind you, and I just say, "Good morning, Aelith."
She'll stand. Good morning.
I hope everything is well. We've been out on the water for quite some time.
Sorry, to clarify, you actually don't know Aelith, Vadra, or Phil.
Oh,
You only know
okay.
Dom because
It's just Dom. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
these guys have just gotten on board the ship.
Okay, in which case that'll change how I deal with the
Sure.
introduction. Okay, and I walk up and say good morning. I hope everything is well. Are all the accommodations okay? I mean, we're here to protect. But if there's anything I can help you with,
Things are going well right now, yes. Thank you very much.
oh, there's no problem at all. You're very welcome. Well, if you'll excuse me.
See, the dick in me wants Aelith to turn around and say, "Oh yeah, cool. Here, I can take my bags down to my sleeping quarters. Thanks."
Yeah.
I mean, you said anything, right?
He did. So then the next person I would go to is Varadel. Or Vardel, was it? And I just say, good morning, traveler.
Ah, so we've got a talkative companion, do we? Question: does Niccolo actually still have the full remnant from the Chiliac stuff?
The full what? Sorry.
As full gear. Does
I
it, does
think he would if he's on duty, technically.
Well, so it's not Sheliax, it'd be Multhun. So yes, the
Sorry,
Multhunian. Yeah, Multhun.
Yeah.
He'd be wearing the Multhun uniform.
Isn't
Is everything all right?
it's unusual for someone from your neck of the woods to be so approachable.
I get that. We over in Multhun do have a kind of an intimidating kind of sense about us. Do not worry though, we will definitely be protecting everyone. But I was sent here. I'm a little different than everyone else. Everyone else seems more kind of broad and, I kind of more think on my feet. So it's not very common, but you are absolutely right.
But I'm lost for where this is going now.
No, Varadel, you are absolutely right. One of the
Yeah.
biggest things about a good negotiator is knowing when to let people have enough rope to hang themselves in. And as Niccolo talks some absolute shit just then, which basically and stop me if I'm wrong here, Neil. Your effective thing is. Yeah, no, listen, the people from my country are very intimidating, but I'm not like my people. I'm special. I'm unique.
Yeah.
And while we're here, here to protect you, don't worry because I'm also here and I have skills and specialities that no one else does.
I'm sorry.
The bit I was picking
was-
up on was directly approaching, because obviously we know a little bit, very human focus, going to the elf and the half-elf first.
Well, I mean, to be fair, 3 of you are elves out of the 4 other
Yep.
people, so there's no order for that.
I know.
Niccolo, I guess here's a sort of like a twist around it. So the meta is that you have to meet each other, right? Neil is taking the initiative and is attempting to meet and speak with all of you. Now, when you are meeting in this particular fashion, there's two things to always remember. Number one is the meta is important, which means actually sharing and giving stuff back and forth, even if your character is an edgelord who doesn't get along with people, is important in order for you to build those bonds. If you choose not to, that's entirely up to you, but even expressing that would be something like, you find that this character is rather unapproachable. He looks at you and seems to be casting a withering gaze upon you. He doesn't seem to respond to any of your questions, but instead asks you about yourself, right? These sorts of methods are really, really good ways to create distance if it's intentional, which is, Conversation 101. Neil, the most important thing to know about meeting people, and this is as a human being, not as a character. As a human being, don't just talk about yourself.
I'm not trying to.
But you are in spades, and here's the catch. I appreciate the fact, and like I said, I appreciate the fact that Neil is taking the initiative and doing the meta thing of going and introducing themselves to people. But what we're seeing, instead of learning about any of the other people, is we're learning about Niccolo 4 times as he's telling each and every person about how cool he is. Now, I'm pretty sure at this point in time, this is where Schooly Eye is going. I don't know where to go with this because Niccolo has actually no other actual reason to have talked to these guys other than to tell them, hey, I'm Niccolo. Look at all the cool stuff I do. Yeah. Maybe instead, as I may make a suggestion for you, Neil, is ask them about themselves. Inquire about them. Figure out who they are. Talk about their journey. What brings them to this ship? Where are they heading to? All of these questions are part of a basic and very fulfilling conversation, which you can totally do at any point in time. But I agree with you, Schooly. Don't worry, it wasn't just you. That was an incredibly complex and long-winded way to say very little. So, Neil, if you would like to have an attempt at that, you may do so. If you've not, you are more than welcome to move on.
Okay. So does he give the vibe that he doesn't really want to be talked to right now, or?
Excellent question.
I was more confused for why someone from Melthun is probably approaching him out of the blue, other than the fact that we're on the same ship.
Imagine if a police officer randomly approached you and then told you his life story. That's kind of what's happened.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so instead of that, which I'm sorry, because
you don't have to apologize. It's not like I said. Remember what we tell people all the time. Number one is we're a learning channel, and number two is no one teaches you this shit. This is the teaching of that shit, because that's what happened just then. So there you go.
This is also us getting into the skin of these characters.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. Real quick for Christina, who said for the kids in the background who want defining of metagame. Let's talk metagame real quick. Metagame is a game that goes beyond the scope of the actual session we're playing. The meta is another phrase for it. Basically, what it means is while we talk characters in game, who we are and where we are in the space and in the story of the world, metagame is about taking away from that sense of who we are as characters to us as players doing things that are sensible for gameplay purposes rather than in-game purposes. So for example, in this case, as I mentioned before, Niccolo actually has no reason to go talk to anyone else in the group. That's in-game, right? But metagame, it's important for our heroes to meet each other. So metagame, Neil is coming up with a method in which Niccolo does go and speak to people and go and interact with them. Metagame is often seen as a very negative thing because thinking about things and trying to leverage the meta for an advantage is a very common way it's used in order to try and, seize an advantage, like I said. But metagame is not necessarily a bad thing if it is used in the purposes of connecting our groups, doing those things to help us go on the adventure, or even just pleasant behavior for table management. Metagame isn't always bad, even though sometimes it can be stipulated as that. This is what we call good meta. The execution, yeah, but the meta is good. What Neil is doing is good. He should be reaching out to folks. But again, this should also not just be on Neil. This should be on everyone should be doing stuff. Yes, Dom, I see that hand.
Yes. Well, just when Niccolo was going over, Dom was going to go talk to Phil. You were on a roll. I didn't want to.
No, we can totally do that. Absolutely. That is a perfect way to go about that. So Dom has expressed that, which means that Niccolo, after you're done talking to Varadel, will then go to Dom. Sorry, Niccolo, after you speak to Varadel, we'll go to Dom talking to Phil.
Yeah.
So, go.
Okay. Well, I think since he kind of almost feels like he's giving the cold shoulder, I will try and get a little bit more out of him, and I will ask, what brings you out to the side of the lake?
Ah, you mean why I've been sent on a little excursion? Well, there are various contracts that need to be checked over. I'm just here for that purposes. How's trade over in Milthun? Going well?
It's going pretty well, yes. I don't. How would trade be well? It is a. I know it is a like a trade and lost kind of city. Like, is their trade pretty good, or?
Is who Multhun?
Nothing, yeah.
So. It's a military kind of thing, so, trade is always booming for places that deal in war, of course. But,
Okay.
It's not really your speciality, You have people who buy stuff for you and, you live off your trust fund,
Yeah.
so...
Okay, I guess I'd just say we're doing pretty well.
Ah, so you're from the wealthier families over there.
Yes, I guess I am.
Ah. Well,
That doesn't stop me from being a soldier, though.
of course not. Everyone wants to leverage family ties. I'm sure everyone on the ship would enjoy to leverage whatever family is backing you.
Well, I'll let you get back to your gazing. If there's anything you need, just let any of us know. As I have a little bit of a about this Veridil guy.
The captain looks over to you and gestures you over. You there, Multhun lad. Do you mind stepping here for a second?
Yes. I'll be right there. And yeah, I will head over to the captain.
Okay. As you head over, he says, listen, what are you doing?
Getting to know the passengers.
Yeah, don't do that. You're here to guard the ship, okay? Can you leave the passengers alone to enjoy their voyage, please? Like, we didn't hire you and your monkey groons to go around and try gabbing the ear off of our VIPs, you understand?
Yes, you're absolutely right, sir. You're very much correct, sir.
He's also confused when you say
apologize.
when you call her sir. It's like, sir, is sorry, my title is captain.
Captain, sorry.
He says, all right, well, yeah, just just stay alert. Remember, we pay you to watch for trouble, not to be gossiping around. Yeah.
Yeah.
He sort of dismisses you as he goes back to his captaining.
Nicola
As-
just
Is
walk
this
out.
something
Just
we all
kinda,
heard?
Yeah, probably loud enough that you guys would have heard.
and then Nicola walks out and just kind of is like going from being really cheerful to like all of a sudden downtrodden, like a little upset, and kind of just walking across, still looking out, but
As you do so, let's see if your soldiers notice. Yeah, they do. So they see you getting told off by the captain and then walking off and being sad, and all the soldiers are just sort of like, fucking rich boy.
Yep.
Wow.
Varadil's probably got a piece of his little notebook out. He's probably writing something in it as well.
All right. Yeah, the
no.
you lose a little respect from the soldiers as you come back, tail between your legs. They said they're doing their best to pretend like they didn't notice. They're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Niccolo, we saved you some breakfast. Here, have some oatmeal. You'll feel better." And one of them sort of punches him in the shoulders, like, "Shut up, man." Yeah, no, it's hopefully there'll be nothing but smooth sailing from here on in, right, guys? They're like, yeah, right. Niccolo, why don't you go and enjoy breakfast? We'll take the first watch.
Can I see if they're being like sarcastic?
They're
or
not.
if there's
They're genuinely trying very hard to they're not being sarcastic. What's the word? What am I looking for here, guys?
I'm trying. I guess
they're
trying
not
to sense
sarcastic.
something, but I
Yeah,
never know
no,
how
they're
to, like,
yeah. You can
They're
make
doing
a
the protective shuffle to hide.
yeah, right. That's kind of it. It's more. They're not sarcastic. They are patronizing you. That's what they're doing. Yeah, they're patronizing you. Because again, if you whine to your dad, that could be their whole careers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're being nice, but they're not being genuinely nice. If that makes sense.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
if I'm able to tell that they're doing that, then yeah, I'll just be like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm on a mission, to myself, like, and then he will kind of pick himself back up and be like, thank you, I'll gladly take some oatmeal.
Yeah, cool. They let you go down to enjoy your oatmeal while they stay on the deck and remain on guard. Dom, you had a scene?
Yes. I was just curious, where is Phil in all of this? Is he interior, exterior?
Phil, your duties are very much the deckhand or swabby kind of thing, so anything that kind of fits that category. Actually, you know what? Roll me a percentage roll. I want to see how good you have picked up on your time here at sea. Well, I say at sea, inner sea. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Here we go. I'm going to give you this real quick. You have a new lore sailing. There you go.
Sweet.
Enjoy that. Very well. So yeah, you can do some basic sailoring stuff. Not anything crazy and stuff like that, but you're not just cleaning the decks and stuff like that. You've been traveling in and around the sea for about a month now, and yeah, you've learned how to sail. You're not trying to be a sailor, mind you. It's just basically you had to learn this or be thrown overboard.
Yeah. And he's nothing if not adaptable. So, that works.
There you go. Okay. So yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, I imagine he's probably just, since he doesn't have to clean the decks necessarily all the time anymore, maybe checking some of the rigging, the knots and that sort of thing, making sure everything's secure, all that good kind of stuff.
All right. So with that, Dom being on deck and just being on the ship for a while, he's probably seen Phil, and just now he's going to walk up to Phil and ask, how long have you been at sea?
Phil, who is probably a little more disheveled than usual, will run a hand through his hair to sort of smooth it back and then put his hat back on, because I imagine he had his hat off for a little bit while he was working. And then he'll put on the smile that he always puts on when he's in public and dealing with people, sort of thing. It's a front that he always puts on, and he'll turn to look at this guy, sort of looking straight ahead or slightly down, because that's usually where he is with people, eye to eye, or has to look slightly down. And he'll probably end up looking at Dom like right in the chest, like collarbone area, and then have to raise his gaze to look at him and be like, "Oh, well, hello. This time, about a month. I've been sailing around."
On all of the things over the past few years that I've missed out on, and being able to speak to a seasoned pro, a genuine warrior, a genuine adventurer, someone who can truly bring me up to speed, this will be great in aiding me in searching for the information that I need. And he's just going to kind of look just down at Phil, just more excited, just like, yes, this is great, super excited. Mind you,
As soon as he
fully
sees the
battle
book,
worn.
Phil's smile will grow a little bit, and the more Dom talks, the happier Phil gets. Like he is here for this. He's all about it. And then he'll sort of reach up and put a hand, if he can reach, on Dom's shoulder and be like, "Well, I'll tell you, if you stick with me, I will be happy to guide you along. There's no one around that knows more than I do about adventure."
And Dom saying this, he is clearly a seasoned veteran, clearly like not just a tourist of like, oh wow, this is a cool story. Like he's been through some shit. Like you can tell just by looking at him, he's like, oh, this guy's serious. So he's going to be looking forward. He's gonna see that Phil was doing something when he walked up. He's like, before the end of this voyage, and maybe more so after, I will enjoy reminiscing strategies and histories with you. I will let you get back to what you were doing, but
so just during this as well, Dom asks a question pertaining to the psychic whale. Go on.
Well, let me tell you.
Kyle, if you got a question, you can ask it.
Oh, you want to ask? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving you a prompt.
okay, gotcha. I gotcha.
It's in the
alrighty.
book you read, by the way.
Yeah. So Dom is, just clearly battle worn, clearly knows what he's doing, but trying to get caught up to speed. And the most recent thing that he's read is in the book about Osseo and the Black Frost whale, the psychic whale. And
Well,
no.
slight side note: there's no name, but yes, a dark, inky whale responsible for the Great Brain Ouch.
Gotcha. So Dom is going to ask about, in this most recent adventure in this book that I've read about, you seem to be quite skilled and capable. Tell me, how did you fully come about defeating or finding yourself squaring up against this unimaginable power, this power that seemed just staggeringly overpowered power? Now I'm trying to see how many times I can say power. Where did you begin in looking for, where to start fighting this unimaginable power? Dom asking because he knows his mission here is basically going up against, an unimaginable power.
And if Aelith hears any of this, she's gonna turn and she'll walk over and just kind of stand.
Well, we'll give him a second, but yes, you absolutely are welcome to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Phil, what's your response?
Phil is still smiling, even though, like, internally he's like, man, I hate when people want to get into details. But he's used to this sort of thing. So he's still smiling, and he'll sort of lean in a little bit like it's a big secret. Well, let me tell you, that is a story best told over dinner and drinks, not on the deck of a ship like this. We'll get there after the journey. But I can't reveal all of my secrets right away.
Dom is gonna give him initially the face that he makes is kind of questionable, just kind of like, okay, don't know how I feel about this, but that'll only be for a second before he kind of brushes off that feeling of just, you know what, yeah, no, that's fair. You're right, that is a tall order, but it is definitely something I would love to hear more about. And then
All right.
just gonna.
It is a story I'm happy to regale you with when we get to our destination.
At this point, Aelith, you do approach at this point.
Yes, I'm curious to hear this myself. Why not wait until? Why wait until a meal? We're all here, out in this fresh air. please do tell us the story. And she'll lower her hood, and she's gonna look directly in his eyes.
Phil, you're unsure of where this elf's semi-passive aggression is coming from, but hey, you've never shied away from an audience before.
This is true. So Phil will remove his hat once she drops the hood, and he'll give a little bow with his arm sort of across his stomach there, and then he'll stand back up and put his hat back on. Well, that I see you're eager to hear the tale, and I couldn't blame you. It is one for the ages. Unfortunately, I do have duties aboard the ship, and I have a job to which I need to return.
Of course.
And then at that point, I think Dom is just going to shout not like yelling, like mad shout. He's just going to be like, overjoyed, just like, oh yes, of course. You can't expect a tactician to just go over all of their planning and their strategy just at the, drop of a hat. It's clearly something that took a lot of time, a lot of preparation. And then he's just going to kind of be backing Phil a little bit, but still eager, just like, yes, can't wait to hear the story.
As you, as the pressure sort of starts to build, Phil, around it, like, Aelith kind of staring you down, Dom very eagerly backing you up and stuff like that. Sweat begins to drip down the side of your brow as all of a sudden a bell begins to ring. You've never heard this bell before, not in your time aboard the ship, and it draws your attention almost immediately. It is being rung by several of the Malthunian guards as they cry out for all passengers to make their way below deck. Off on the port side of the vessel is a mist that seems to be following the ship. And in its silhouette, as a clap of eldritch green light billows against the mist, you see the outline of a skeletal ship. The sound of paddles washing in the waves, one after the other. The undead plague barge begins to approach. And that is the end of our prologue.
Ooh.
Also, hi, Odd Bandicoot! Yes, brand new series. We are in our session 00. We've just wrapped up for the day. I hope you guys had fun. Guys, real quick, because we are running a little bit over time, but I wanted to let that last scene play out. Real quick, I'm just going to go around, ask you guys if you're happy with where the character is at the moment, ask if you had any favorite parts of your character's expression in today's session. Jen, let's start with you.
Yes, it's going to be interesting with this group and how the dynamics are gonna work. But I think all in all, this is, I think it'll be good.
Good, wonderful. I will give you my bit of advice for Aelith is remember, you are going to be taking the spearhead of a lot of this because of your character's personal experience with stuff. I will seed stuff with you as best I can, much like I did with the story. Like that was entirely the intention of me prodding Dom to bring up that story with Phil, with you present, so that I could engage you, but I need your help in terms of you also engaging. Sitting around and looking wistfully into the sky, as cool as that is, it doesn't tell a story. So remember, Aelith still has their story to tell. You have your things that you're invested in. If you're ever at a loss, don't hesitate to reach out, because I will help facilitate as best I can as well. But this is really cool to see Aelith in a different light. And how cool is it to see characters with different players? Like the dynamic shifts so big when it comes to just a different makeup of your team, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she I didn't mean for her to come off like sarcastic. It was just like one of those, yeah, let's hear what you have to say about Osseo, the black frost whale.
No, it's good. You should take that personally. You lost people in that whole exchange as well. Like, this is a very personal thing for you. So yeah, take it sarcastically, take it personally, take it, like passive aggressively, do it, yeah, that's a great reaction. All right, Schoolie, what about you? How do we feel about today's session and something you enjoyed about Vardell?
Yeah, I think it'll take a bit more getting used to that mentality, but hopefully I'll get there. time.
Yep. Anything you enjoyed about playing Vardell today?
Possibly calling out. I'm sorry, Neil. Calling out the failed attempt by basically kicking off the whole bit, because I think that just fits more the political dynamic between the two countries more than anything else.
I would suggest, in terms of my suggestions for this character, is steer slightly away from the political side and focus on the merchant greed side. Because I don't think Vardell has been greedy enough. Vardell is still, and I mean this in a positive way, is still Schooly Eye being smart. Schooly Eye is a very smart individual, very intelligent, very, very well thought out as an individual, but not likely to make mistakes in the name of money and greed. However, Vardell, on the other hand, Vardell should have a lot more of a drive towards leveraging everything they can towards profits for themselves. I think he's a very interesting. I think it's very interesting.
So for reference, the note that I was putting down, which because we're moving on, was Niccolo potentially being a future end to exploit. That was the very subtle note for the family. Basically to exploit his family.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But keeping in mind, that's still political, that's not commerce. You're into commerce, not necessarily espionage. There's a very big difference in mood, right? You know what I mean? Like, for example, one of the big things about merchants is fair trade. Blackmailing people is not fair trade.
No, it's more the point of contact for future opportunities, as well as mentally trying to think.
Future, but that's what I mean. Future opportunities. More, you need to have something to offer for opportunities. You know what I mean? There has to be some sort of exchange rather than, just gathering that. Yeah. So what I'm saying is you need to remember that there is that fair trade side of stuff for the merchants, not just that political leveraging, which I know you're good at. I know you've nailed that with him, but you can't neglect the other side of things too. Like, for example, leveraging Niccolo and his family. To what end? How's that gonna put money in your purse? Unless it's blackmail, which again, then gives you that reputation as a merchant. Which might be what you're after, might not be. Depends on how you're looking at it. Dom, how'd you go?
Helps if I unmute. No, I think it was great. I had a lot of fun with it. Actually, having a character starting from the ground up. I feel like I can play around a lot more with.
Was that a joke about you being dead in the starting from the ground up?
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
He didn't even try.
Yeah. Natural, really putting myself into this character just comes naturally. What can I say? But no, I'm really enjoying having a character from the ground up and actually getting to focus more on the origin and the story, because I feel with Carl, again, it was very much mid-campaign where it was just like, this is him. All right, this is how he functions in a game. Like, there wasn't too much of, like, the expansion on that, epilogue or the story behind him. So, yeah, I'm having a blast.
Nice. I love that. Honestly, I don't have too many notes in terms of Dom. I think Dom is pretty solidly finding his place by asking questions and stuff. And I think because you, Kyle, also have not that much experience with the setting of Pathfinder, I think this is giving you a nice conduit to be able to ask questions about your surroundings, what's happening in today's society, and relying on that knowledge coming from the other teammates means that that's actually going to build that social bond very, very well. So I think you're doing great with that. So yeah, no notes. You're already doing what I was hoping that this character would do, and yeah, you're awesome. Cool. Yeah. Lucas.
Yes. I am absolutely having a blast playing Phil so far. He's been a lot of fun this session.
Nice.
It's a very different character for me, and basically playing pretty much a con man, where everything out of his mouth is a lie, is pretty entertaining.
Nice. I agree. I think he's great, and I weirdly enough, I loved the natural ones that just sort of plagued the first rolls that you had, because I think it made for a very interesting turn. I really enjoyed how the story kind of twisted away from what I originally planned into like this. Now I'm a sailor, I guess, because it kind of feels like a microcosm for you as an adventurer. Like, you weren't really an adventurer, but you kind of got thrown into that situation, much like how you became a sailor. You weren't really a sailor. You just got kind of sealed in a barrel and kind of had to pick it up, you know? It's a great little mini version of what's going to happen for the major adventure, and I love that we were able to do that in session 0.
Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it.
The only advice I would say for you is have more confidence in your lying. I think at the end where you were trying not to go into the story of Osseo the Black Frost Whale and stuff like that, I think that's the kind of stuff that I want you to lean heavier into. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Have that confidence in your lies. Like, you believe I guess in the mindset, this character would believe his lies are infallible. Do you know what I mean? Like, you would not hesitate. Yeah. And I think that's going to be a play for a bunch of very interesting things. So well done. Good job.
Thank you.
Neil, what about you?
I'm really enjoying Niccolo. Being able to play a military man. I mean, I've done it long ago, but it was more as a if you remember, Tamaki from Ruby Phoenix. He was kind of a figurehead also kind of character. But in this case, it'll be interesting to try and play a more serious character. Although usually characters I end up making also end up becoming Neil characters. So I'm trying my best to make it a more serious kind of character. But, at times,
Yeah, I think he's a very interesting character as well. I think I understand what you're trying to say, and I'll give you maybe 2 bits of advice on that when it comes to this. Number 1 is the nihilisms of your characters often come about because sometimes you do try to take the lead yourself rather than sharing the space, right? Sometimes you will choose to talk because that space is open versus creating a space where someone else feels comfortable to do so. I think Niccolo is in a good position to do so, because if you really want to play a good tactician, you should ask people what they think we should do and ask for their advice on your course of action. Because most of the time you don't talk to anyone and you just do your own thing. That's always been the mindset, the Neil mindset. Swapping that out for your tactician to actually heed the words of the people around you would be a great way for that to shift without you necessarily having to change a whole ton of stuff. The second bit of advice, and Neil, again, this always comes from a place of love. Don't be pathetic. Your character's a level 11 hero, right? Even though they don't have experience and stuff like that.
I said that, and I was just like, I shouldn't have done that.
No, exactly. And I know you realized it the moment you did, because you started throwing your head back and laughing and stuff like that. Because the thing is I only interpret what you present to me. You know what I mean? If you tell me that he leaves the captain and he feels a little sad and miserable, that unfortunately, it's a little pathetic. Yeah. If you get told off or if you get called out for doing stuff, sometimes that's great for the character, but if you kind of take it away from like how I would feel getting told off, because that's how I'd feel if someone told me off, and I was like, oh man, yeah, okay, I feel a bit down, I feel a bit shit, and that relatable feeling is what I then impose into my character. Then that character just becomes a Neil, you know what I mean? It just becomes your feelings. Now, if your character is like, my character has a lot of pride, like my character might turn around and say, I'm sorry, are you telling me I can't talk to the other people of this crew? What if it's for security purposes? What if the reason I need to figure out if you have a spy aboard your ship is the only reason I'm talking to these people to find out where they're going? After all, you could just allow someone to bring an IUD onto your actual vessel and blow it to Kingdom Come. But hey, I'm not in charge of this ship. So how about you let me do my job and you do yours? could be an angle you take, but that takes a different headspace, you know what I mean? So at each of these points, just remember what story you want to take Niccolo on, right? If you want to take Niccolo on that journey of like discovering and he's young and naive and stuff like that, that's great. Fantastic. Let's do that. But the only thing I would say is try to avoid doing things that are just sad and pathetic, because nothing is going to be sadder than a level 11 character with their tail between their legs. Because I cannot stress this enough to everyone, a typical
I keep forgetting
veteran...
that even this is a new campaign.
It is new. That's why we're learning this stuff. And that's why, again, this is why I'm giving this advice for Session 0. Because this is our prologue. This is our... You have all given me what you want from your characters, and now we're just having a chance to, like, do stuff. So there's nothing wrong with what you've done, and there's, you know, just moving forward in the direction you've told me. This is kind of like just the advice for that. What was I going to say? I know what I meant, Mackenzie. Dang it. And I said it, and I thought, no one's caught me. And I'm like, yes. And I almost got away with it. This close. I was this close to getting away with it, Mackenzie. Thank you.
Quite a few people in chat caught it.
That's fine. Anyway. Look, it's 11:30 at night. Anyway. I have horrible puns, and I'm not going to do that. Anyway, the important thing that I've got to say with that in terms of stuff is scaling wise, and this is going to be important for everyone. You guys are level 11, okay? At level 11, most NPC adventurers would have lived a full and thorough life and retired at level 11. Like most of the strongest people you'll come across in towns and villages and stuff like that, ex-adventurers, veteran marines and stuff like that, they'll be like level 10 to 12, right? Like that's their rough level. You are all level 11 for whatever reasons and purposes you have. So you don't necessarily need to shy away from a lot of stuff and conflicts and things. Like, yeah, you'll be able to tell certain things will need more attention. Like if I drop a dragon on you, yeah, it's a fucking dragon, okay? Fucking be smart. But if a bandit comes up to you and tries to mug you, okay? I don't want to see people going, oh, no, sir, please, don't mug me. Here, take my wallet. It's like, dude, you're level 11. Shut the fucking get shit done, you know? Act your level. That's the new phrase, okay? It needs to go on a shirt. Act your fucking level, right? Okay, that's the thing, okay? So yeah, just remember that when it comes to our adventure, because yeah, it'll be important here and there. Cool? All right. Yeah. Fantastic. I had an amazing time, and I think probably my biggest highlights... actually, I'm not going to lie. My biggest highlight was Don's backstory. Which I keep meaning to change it, but I never did. Don, with an N, not an M. There you go. Don. There you go. Don's backstory with him actually having the resurrection cast on him and stuff like that, I loved that scene. That was a really cool moment and stuff, and having that moment where you kind of woke up and were like, where the fuck am I? I was at war, there was a light, and then being told like, hey, your country, your kingdom, your friends, your family, all of them are dead. That was so fucking good, and it was really great to have that fun moment with you, Kyle.
That was a blast. You were setting it up, and I was like, this sounds super cool. This sounds awesome. I can't wait to, like, botch this with my role play. But, like, this is great.
Yeah. All right. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of today's session. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. And if you haven't checked it out, don't worry. The VODs are on YouTube, so you can go check it out. But in the meantime, guys, my name is Michael. I'm the Dead Aussie Gamer. This is my place. This is my face. You can find it here a number of times during the week. We'll be back in, like, 8-ish hours, 7.5 hours for No Place Like Home, so be sure to tune in for that. And until we meet again, stay safe, stay wonderful, be kind to each other, because why the fuck not, it's free. And as always, game hard or die trying.